Hello and welcome everyone. I welcome all of you to Civil Services Achievers Point. As you all know, recently the result for APSC 2022 mains is out, and I'm very happy to announce that more than 500 students from Civil Services Achievers Point have successfully cleared the recently declared APSC mains. And I congratulate all of you, even those who are not from our institute. I congratulate all of you for clearing the mains exam, and I'm very sure that all of you are geared up for the upcoming APSC interview. Today, we have amongst us Sri Anil Swarup sir, who has come to Guwahati from Delhi. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and helping the students of and the youths of Assam regarding the interview preparation. And he has been associated with us since last 1 year almost, and he has been tremendously helping the students in various phases of this preparation. Before we proceed for the discussions on various dimensions and aspects of interview guidance program, I would like to introduce Sir to our audience. Sir is a retired IAS officer. He is from 1981 batch of Indian Administrative Services. He has a 38 years of career span, a very long journey. Sir has also served as the School Education and Literacy Secretary of India from 2016-18, and prior to that he was also serving as the Coal Secretary of India. Sir was also posted in various positions during his tenure, but most importantly, Sir was the recipient of Director's Gold Medal for Best Officer Trainee of his batch at Labasna, Mussoorie. Apart from that, I would like to mention specially about his 3 books, and we'll also talk about those books and its relevance for the students for the preparation of civil services. And he has already written 3 books which are named as Ethical Dilemmas of a Civil Servant, Not Just a Civil Servant, and No More a Civil Servant. So we'll talk about those books in the upcoming time period of this podcast. So I welcome all of you once again to this podcast, where we are going to discuss about some of the very important dimensions. Those are to be kept in the mind for the students while they are preparing for the interview, upcoming interview, or while they are facing any interview in front of the APSC panel. So, sir, as we start, first of all, I would like to ask you a very basic question about some initial comments for the students, what they need to keep in their mind while they are preparing for the interview.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. It's always a pleasure to talk to youngsters and exchange notes with them. Some of the fundamental points that a potential candidate has to keep in mind is most of them are initially very nervous.
Yes, sir.
And this nervousness is on account of the apprehension that they have that what sort of questions will be asked, whether they will be able to answer those questions. If they are unable to answer those questions, what will happen? So these are the initial apprehensions that every aspirant has, and they have to overcome them. And it's not very difficult if they think about it in a manner that I'm going to say this now. First of all, I think each aspirant or each candidate should convince himself or herself that no one on this earth is knowledgeable enough to answer every question.
Yes, sir.
So inability to answer a question is nothing unique to them. Almost everyone would not be able to answer this question. So they are not alone in their ignorance. Sometimes when you feel alone in your ignorance, you become nervous.
Yes.
But if everyone around you is as ignorant, as knowledgeable as you are, then why should you be nervous? That
True.
is one. Number 2, based on this, I don't think the panel would expect all answers to be given by the candidate. The candidate should be aware that his knowledge has already been tested in the written exam.
Yes.
During the course of so-called interview, my understanding it is not an interview, it is a personality test. The personality of an individual or a candidate is being assessed. And personality includes his courage to say no when he doesn't know an answer. In fact, saying no candidly is better than guessing an answer.
Yes.
Because it shows his integrity. It shows his courage to accept ignorance on a particular issue. So that goes okay with him. It doesn't matter. He doesn't know. The problem is that first the candidate is apprehensive of his ignorance and then he lives in his ignorance. So if he is unable to answer that question, he keeps pondering about his inability to answer that question.
Yes.
And when a question is asked where he knows the answer, then he is unable to answer what he knows. So the focus has to be on what you know rather than brooding over what you don't know.
Yes, sir. That is very important message for the students, and not getting nervous even if they are not able to answer any particular question. In fact, sir, I had heard that during my preparation days when I was in Old Rajendra Nagar, that one of the candidate, he was being thrown approximately around 20 questions and he could not answer initial 9 questions, but he cleared the exam and now he's an officer.
I'll give you my own example.
Yes, sir.
When I appeared for the second year, first year I qualified for the police service,
Yes, sir.
second year I got the IS.
Yes, sir.
And in the IS I got 80% in the UPSC examination. And there were 3 successive questions
Okay.
where I said, no, I don't know the answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I never lived in those ignorance. What I am trying to suggest here is, if you don't know, move on.
Yes, sir.
You can't keep brooding over, oh, I could answer that question. Many people don't answer.
Yes, sir. That is very important to accept your like even if you're not able to answer, and move on to the next question and consider it in an objective manner. So like during the interview process, even when you are taking so many mock interviews here, and like we see that sometimes some of the candidates are not able to come or are not able to develop a proper balance of whatever they are saying, or if we can use the word of judgment. Suppose some situation based questions are being asked, or even if it is related to their personal life also, some decisions that they have taken, so they are not able to come with a balance in their answers. So do you think this is important for the in front of the panel, and as a trait of a future civil servant?
So first of all, let me clarify that I don't take mock interviews.
Yes, sir. True.
My objective is to understand the individual and
Yes.
guide.
Yes, sir.
So I think they ask me more questions than I ask them.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes,
mock
sir.
interview, now
Yes, sir.
interviewer. So idea here is to make them believe that at that stage of life they cannot afford to be judgmental. Because your views on a particular issue are based on the knowledge that you have.
Yes.
And at this stage of life, perhaps they are not conversant with the entire set of knowledge or set of facts. So they may have a point of view, but they are not expected to give a judgment. Judgment is a final view on an issue.
Yes, sir.
So what I suggest to aspirants, and I continue to do that you should not appear to say that this should be done, because your view is determined by what you already know, and there's so many aspects that you would not know.
Yes, sir.
So you have to be humble about your view. When you become judgmental, you're not humble.
Yes, sir.
When you say this should be done, this is right and this is wrong. You know, at much later stage in life also, you change your views. It is not that you should change your views, but you should have an open mind. But once you become judgmental, you close your mind that this is right and this is wrong. I would not suggest to the aspirants. They should weigh both the pros and cons and have a point of view, but certainly not a judgment. Judgment closes.
What happens, sir, when they are asked for an opinion?
So you give your opinion.
Yes.
So opinion is different from a judgment.
Yes.
Judgment is when you come to a conclusion
Yes, sir.
and there's nothing thereafter. Opinion is something which you're still open for discussion.
Yes, sir.
So at this stage, and when they do become civil servants, then also they should not become judgmental.
Yes, sir.
They should not pass judgment, so to say. They should weigh pros and cons, take a point of view, and if more facts come to the light, they should be prepared to revisit that
Yes, sir.
view. In a judgment, you don't revisit them.
Yes.
Decide. So that's very important.
And sometimes, sir, if like the candidates are being asked for an opinion, and if their personal opinion is against the government, So how they deal with that situation?
It's important to understand that you need not agree with everything that the government says.
Yes.
But you should not present it as a critical judgment of the government. There again, if you become judgmental of the government,
Yes, sir.
because you may not be aware full facts why a government has come to that conclusion. You are basing your opinion on what you know.
Yes, sir.
These people sitting in the government may know more, and that is why they have come to that conclusion. So you should have the humility to say that you have come to this conclusion or this opinion based on certain facts.
Yes,
you
sir.
should be able to relate those facts. And then you should also reflect an open mind that if new facts come to my mind, I can reconsider this view.
Even
But
during the interview?
if it comes,
Okay.
if certain additional facts
Okay,
come to your
okay,
knowledge,
okay.
there's no harm in changing your view.
Okay. So changing view can happen
See,
provided it
if
is justified.
the view is based on reason,
Yes, sir.
on facts,
Yes.
and those facts, fresh facts are brought before you, then there's no harm in changing the view.
Okay. Okay.
You will appear as flexible.
Okay.
Because at that age, you're not supposed to come to final judgments on very
Yes, sir.
important, complex issues.
Yes, sir.
Most of the issues that are brought out are very complex ones.
Yes. Yes.
So there are no simplistic
Yes.
views on that. And hence, coming to a judgment is even worse. So it's advisable not to come. What the candidate should do is to bring about a very balanced view.
Balanced view. Yes.
So, and secondly, never start with the criticism.
Okay.
My suggestion to aspirants is start with positive appreciation.
Yes, sir.
I can't think of anything that the government would have done which does not call for appreciation.
Obviously.
So start with appreciation and then bring in critical points and then present your point of view in a humble manner,
Yes.
not in a judgmental manner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's a very important point to be considered for the students. So the next thing which I or many of us keep on like getting these queries from the students is like expecting to be a civil servant. Does it mean that a candidate should be highlighting about his leadership qualities or about his social traits or how cohesive they are socially? Because these are some of the traits that are expected from a civil servant. So should it be proved in front of the panel?
My suggestion to aspirants is don't try and prove anything.
Yes, sir.
Don't try and show off. Don't try and demonstrate. Be very simple, straightforward.
Yes, sir.
Let the panel discover you rather than you present yourself.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
have to be very clear in your mind. I've been advising some of the aspirants, don't boast about yourself.
yes, sir.
Sir, I meet everyone, I do this, I do that. No, let the panel gradually
Okay,
discover.
okay, okay.
You should be humble about what you are. You tell about yourself, but in a very simple language. You
Yes,
should
sir.
not be saying, sir, I'm very social. I meet everyone. I have leadership qualities. You are in trouble if you say that.
Yes, sir.
Let them discover your leadership qualities by the manner in which you are speaking, the manner in which you are presenting. They will discover it. They are
Yes.
old people.
Yes.
They experienced people. But you don't have to tell.
Yes.
Never tell great things about yourself. That's the bottom line.
Yes, sir. So the first question that pops up in the interview commonly like is tell us about yourself.
Simple.
So
I
it
think
should
that
be
keep
yes.
it very simple.
Yes,
My
sir.
name is so-and-so. I come from this district. This is my educational background. This is where I work. That's it.
That's it.
Don't say that I was a champion in tennis. I ran the rain fast. No.
Yes, sir. And
I
if they
even suggested don't even suggest your hobbies until they ask you.
yes, yes, yes.
Let them ask those questions. Keep your answers very simple. That's very important. Don't boast about what you. Let them discover it.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's very important. Now, also along with that, suppose in some questions, if the candidates are having just a superficial amount of knowledge and they're not having a depth of like knowledge on a particular question that is being asked, how they deal with that? Like,
So this is very important.
yes, sir.
This is very, very important. You know, the questions are of three different natures.
Yes, sir.
One would be a pure factual question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you know the answer, say yes. If you don't know, say no.
Yes.
Don't try and guess until you ask yes. So this is simple.
Yes,
but
sir.
keep it simple.
Yes.
Other is critical. The other questions may relate to your views. Now those views are usually based on certain facts
True.
or background. Now that is where your question comes in.
Yes.
Suppose I am not fully conversant with the background, then I should upfront say, sir, my knowledge of this area is very limited.
Okay.
So it may not be appropriate of me to give a view on that. the interviewer can still ask you, okay, you tell me on the basis of knowledge that you have, then you speak up. But don't try and appear to be very knowledgeable when you are not.
Yes, sir.
There's no harm in admitting before the board that your knowledge is limited in a particular area.
True.
It shows you as a humble person. And then if you are able to, when you present your view and you are unable to drive home a point, you have a back door open. You
Yes,
already said that your knowledge is limited.
Yes, sir.
So it's always better to be humble and not claim to be very knowledgeable in a particular area, and admit the fact that your knowledge may be limited.
True. Yes, sir. That's really important for us to understand this point. And what do you suggest about the, sir, presentation of a candidate in front of the panel, like about their personality or the, like, because I believe presentation is also having some amount of
It's
marks.
very important. It's important on how you say, what you say, the manner in which you speak. This is extremely critical. You know, more often than not, I found candidates who know a thing, but they are unable to express this.
Yes, sir.
For this, they should make a conscious effort to improve their communication skills.
True.
And communication skills actually really means that you are able to convey to the person you are talking to effectively the point you are trying to make. Now, for that, you require a lot of practice.
Yes, sir.
Not everyone is a good communicator, and most of the good communicators have practiced and become good
Yes, sir.
communicators. And I usually suggest a drill for that.
Yes.
And that drill, if practiced properly, many have benefited and many will get benefited.
So would
what
you like to
do-
share again in front of the
I'll explain
candidates?
this to you. That whichever newspaper that you read, pick up, open the editorial page and pick up one of the editorial articles. Then stand in front of a mirror and read that article aloud,
Yes.
slowly but loudly. Speaking each word very clearly.
It's very important.
And then record it.
Okay.
Why record it? Because through recording you will understand where you are fumbling, where you are unable to speak,
True.
whether the speed was correct, whether words were coming out clearly. It helps you improve further.
Yes, sir.
Over a period of time, you discover your diction improves on its own through practice, and many have benefited. After reading the article, put the newspaper down and speak it out in your own words. Now, here again, you will fumble because we are not used to, most of the aspirants who are preparing
Yes.
are reading and writing, they're not speaking. An interview is all about speaking.
True.
So, if you read it and then speak it aloud and record it, there are three benefits that will accrue. Number one, your diction will improve.
Yes.
You become more fluent as you practice more and more. Second, all these articles that appear in prominent newspapers are written by learned people
True.
who put their point of view very logically, very rationally. So you will also gradually start developing those capabilities of analyzing a particular issue and presenting it in a manner which is effective and people are able to relate to it.
Yes, sir.
And finally, all these articles based on current issues.
True.
So imagine the information you have. So this drill, if done regularly, I mean, I've been advising aspirants, don't worry about the interview. Do it till the interview and continue after that.
Yes, sir.
Because to me, good communication skills is a primary requirement for success in life, as in civil service.
Yes, sir.
So it's better to improve your communication skills.
True.
The second part of this is, I've been suggesting to you also, that constitute WhatsApp group of
Yes,
5 each and assign a topic every day for discussion. Let them come and speak. You know what I call this structured speaking,
Yes, sir.
structured communication skills. Usually we talk to our friends and things like that, but these are on particular issues where you've given it a thought and then you express your point of view in a particular logical manner. So all that over a period of time, you will start speaking logically, you'll become more eloquent, you will not unnecessarily use words that are not used.
True.
You know, all of us have some habit of using some word here, there, somewhere. You'll get over that.
Yes, sir. That's really important, and I think if the students start practicing this, they will definitely develop their skills and be very comfortable in front of the interview panel. Sir, what about the importance of like integrity or honesty? And sometimes students face this as a problem while answering some of the questions.
You know, they should be very forthright about it.
Yes, sir.
And they should understand that the panel on the other side will catch you if you're dishonest. I started by saying that admit the fact that you don't know a
True,
particular answer.
true.
That is a reflection of your intent.
Yes, sir.
So all such issues, I would also suggest that not many people understand these aspects of ethics, honesty and
True,
integrity.
true.
And that is why I have suggested if some of them can read Ethical Dilemmas of a Civil
Yes,
Servant,
yes.
they will come across case studies
True.
where such issues came up and how they were resolved.
Yes.
Some were resolved, some were not resolved. So it is through discussions and understanding of such actual real life situations that you come to understand what is ethical and what is not, what needs to be done, what need not be done.
Yes, sir.
Intuitively it becomes difficult, but if you practice it, if you understand these case studies, you get to understand
Yes,
the
sir.
answer.
In fact, sir is also having a very important case study from your personal life, I believe, during your transfer from the coal
Many
ministry.
not one. Many.
Yes.
I have many personal examples of facing this sort of dilemmas.
Yes,
Some of which have been articulated in my books.
Yes, sir.
Which, if the aspirants study, like in UPSC, they benefit from the ethics paper.
Yes, sir.
PS4.
True, true. Even in APSC, sir, we are having this
So these
ethics
case
paper.
studies will help them understand.
True.
It is more a question of understanding than learning. So if they comprehend and understand, they will be able to take up any case study,
Yes, sir.
whether verbally or writing.
So it's very important like as I already mentioned in the beginning of our podcast, like sir has already written about the ethical dilemmas of a civil servant, and that book is really very helpful for especially for the ethics paper and even for the interviews. So what about the other two books, like Not Just a Civil Servant and No More a Civil
My
Servant?
first book was Not Just a Civil Servant. This was originally to be written about a scheme that I administered, the
Okay.
Rashtriya Shanti Mahindra.
Yes.
But as luck would have it, after that assignment, I had very sensitive assignments like Secretary Coal and then Secretary School Education.
Yes, sir.
So they are also part of it. The basic thrust of that book is that the life of a civil servant has to be beyond, much beyond the traditionally understood concept of a civil servant. He has a very prominent role to play, and he can derive enormous amount of satisfaction by helping people who are helpless.
Okay.
So if you look at it strictly speaking, a civil servant would do his files and do his work and go away. But the potential of impact of at least the IS officer that he has, he can derive, as I said, enormous amount of satisfaction by helping a lot of people. Not necessarily the wrong way, you can help them a lot through the right way. So this is what the book is all about.
Okay.
The sense of satisfaction that I derived during the course of my career. The first 1 year as police officer and then 37 years as an IS officer. How much I derived. So that's why I call it Not Just a Civil Servant,
Yes, sir.
which has to be beyond civil servant. The third book that I wrote, No More a Civil Servant, is more about my retired career,
Okay.
where I indulged in setting up an institution called Nexus of Good, where the fundamental philosophy is that there's so much good happening in the society, we don't tend to notice it.
Yes.
What we should do is to notice it, understand it, appreciate it, and then attempt to replicate and scale it.
Yes, sir.
So much good work is happening. So that's case studies on the good work that is happening in the society.
So these three books are definitely going to help the students during their preparation, and even sir, students are always going through a process of ups and downs in life, and I'm very sure they'll be like enlightened after reading these three books of yours, and it will definitely help and boost up them during their preparation.
Hope so.
Yes, sir. Dear students, we have almost come to an end with the discussion with Anil Swarup sir, and I'm very sure that you all will be enlightened after hearing this entire session, because many of the students have already had one-to-one mentorship session and guidance session from Anil sir here at CSAP in our head office. But those of you who could not come for various reasons and have a one-to-one session with Anil sir, you can definitely watch this and you will be really benefited out of it. So just before winding up, just last two questions or last two messages from Anil sir. Sir, what would you like to tell about CSAP and about our team or about the initiatives that we are taking?
I'm so glad that you have an institution like CSAP in this place and the effort that is being put by you and your team. I had the pleasure of interacting with a large number of aspirants one-on-one, and I was very impressed with the way they are being handled, the way they are being taught. So I think CSAP has a very bright future, and I'm sure you'll expand to other areas. You will go to the All India services as well,
Yes.
because you have the wherewithal here. You have a wonderful team. I have had the occasion to interact with them. So all the best to you, and I'm sure with your guidance, these aspirants are going to do well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. This words really means a lot for the entire team. And lastly, since our first priority is always our students, so some last tips for the students and the youths of Assam, especially for the upcoming, not only for the upcoming APSC interview, but also for those who will be attempting in giving attempts next years.
You know, civil service and civil services, whether state or the national level, they are a great medium to serve the people of your state or the country. I became an IAS officer because my father wanted me to become an IAS officer, but after having put in 38 years, I have written in my book that if I were to be born again, I'd like to be an IAS officer.
Wow.
So that's the potential of civil service.
Yes, sir.
So my friends, those of you aspire to become civil servants, pursue your dreams because it's well worth coming here. Of course, it's not easy either to get into it or to work in the service. There are problems, like anywhere. Even here you would face problems, but it is well worth it. The sense of satisfaction that you will derive out of doing good to people around you is absolutely enormous.
Yes, sir.
But as I said, there are huge issues, there are problems. It's not a perfect, nothing is perfect on this earth. So if you are aspiring to become a civil servant, pursue your dreams, but for doing that, given the competition that you have to make certain sacrifices. You have to discipline yourself. If you don't do that, then getting into the civil service is tough because of the competition. So all the best to all of you. Work hard. You may or may not succeed, that's not in your hand. But what is in your hand is the effort that you put in. The good effort that you put in, the chances are that you'll succeed.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your wonderful, from your experiences and also the wonderful messages. And I'm very sure that all of them will be motivated, highly motivated after listening to you. So I thank sir from the deepest core of my heart for coming to Guwahati from Delhi and giving us almost 3 long days, right from the morning till the evening, and I'm very sure a lot of students have been benefited directly after talking to sir. So before ending up, I just want to tell all my students that we'll be continuing with our interview guidance program, both in the offline mode as well as in the online mode. Our other panel members will be present here, but we will also have Anil sir through online mode, and those of you who will be interested to join a one-to-one session with Anil sir in the online mode, he will be joining from Delhi or from other places, and for that you can find the registration link in the description of this video, or you can contact directly the phone numbers given below. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.